What's going on, guys? Welcome to the show. As you guys can tell, we're not doing our normal 1-2. We are doing the game show Wheel of Fragrance, and I have a great special guest that's going to be going through the gauntlet with me today. This is my boy, the Sillage Saint. Been watching this channel for quite a bit. Y'all know my story. As I came up, I did a lot of watching other YouTubers, seeing how they talk about fragrance, what they bring to the space, really just being a fan. And his channel was one that I came across very regularly, and I really appreciate the way he does content. And he agreed to come onto the show and do the Wheel of Fragrance. So I'm super excited to have him and see his perspective and what kind of bag he gets into with his fragrance grabs. And hopefully we can surprise him with some of these options that I put in here. But why don't you introduce yourself to the people, bro?
What up, though, everybody? It's your boy Meech, aka the Sillage Saint. Really excited to be here, man. I've been chomping at the bit to play Wheel of Fragrance here. Finally linked up with my guy here, the Scent Bubble, and we were able to make it happen. So I'm really excited. Like he said, I'm a fragrance content creator. I'm kind of new to the space as well, so it's really cool to link up with other people who are kind of just getting the ball rolling and doing their thing. I'm a native of Detroit. So I got that going on, but this is all about fragrance, and I'm very excited to be with you today. So
Awesome. So for those of y'all who aren't familiar with the Wheel of Fragrance, I started this game show a couple weeks ago. Really, I've been sitting on this idea for quite a while. Just how can we personalize our conversation to fragrance more so it doesn't just become a checklist, but it brings you into the world of the individuals that are talking about the fragrances. Because I think it's interesting, and I think it further informs the viewers on just different nuances of kind of the psychology behind the person they're watching and what they're into and why they're into what they're into. So, but also another thing I wanted to bring to this space was just the entertainment value. At the end of the day, the fragrances, they create vibes. They're an extension of our personality. They're conversation starters. And I don't think that aspect of it gets talked about specifically. We kind of just bring it up. And I think, designing this game show helps us to get into the world of the fragrance user more, because a lot of opinions and stuff that we have about fragrance, the context really matters. So this kind of brings out the context a little bit more in a fun way, and brings a little bit of an entertainment aspect to FragCom. So for those of you who aren't familiar with how this show works, it's quite simple. I'm going to spin the wheel for Sillage Saint here. Whatever it lands on, he's going to have 30 seconds to get in his bag, go into his collection, and find the fragrance that fits the topic. We have a couple of options here, such as restaurant brunch, office hours, Sillage assassin. I tried to make these cool and interesting, but they're different scenarios and categories that are meant to I try to balance it between being on one end challenging, or on the other end, just interesting and kind of commonplace things that people would naturally want to know about certain fragrances for. But anyway, he's going to have 30 seconds to go in his bag and find it. I'm going to play some music for y'all. When he gets back, he's going to explain the fragrance he chose, why he chose it, how he uses it, maybe some alternatives if that comes to mind. And I'm going to nerd out a little bit and maybe pull up some Fragrantica for you guys to show some breakdown as well as the wheel, which reminds me, I need to put the wheel on the screen here. But without further ado, we are going to jump into our game show. Any final words for the people in terms of what are you anticipating for this game show?
man, I don't know, man. I'm just excited about the different categories, and just having to kind of think on my feet, be quick on my feet, run to the collection, and try to find a fragrance that fits whatever category. So it's gonna be some quick thinking. So I'm definitely excited, a little nervous, but we'll get it. It's no
Hey,
problem.
we're gonna rock
We'll
out.
knock it out the park. We got it.
I think people get quite surprised how easy it is after the first spin. It's just like, oh wait, yeah, I do this.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
All right, well, hey, without further ado, let's play the Wheel of Fragrance. First spin.
Mm.
Ooh.
Ah.
First option, we have the Cigar Lounge. Mr. Sillage Saint, you got 30 seconds and go.
All right, I think I got something. All right.
Oh, that was quick,
I
bro.
know,
It's like
man.
20
Listen,
seconds.
that was one I'm like, okay, I got something. I got something for that. I could think of something right off the bat.
Talk to the people. What you pick?
All right, so if you guys tune in to my channel, I do a little bit of everything. I talk about designer, I talk about niche, and some people love it, some people hate it, but I talk about clones as well. And the fragrance that I picked for the cigar lounge, this is a recent pickup. I've only owned this fragrance for a couple of weeks. It is a Fragrance World interpretation of Mason Margiela's Jazz Club, and
Okay.
the fragrance is called Music Fest. And so
Hey, look
this
at that bottle
fragrance,
right there.
yeah. So this is the bottle. This fragrance, man, I'm telling you, it probably I could have grabbed a little sample, but I have a 10 ml sample of the OG of Jazz Club. This is like 90th percentile Jazz Club. So it's kind of smoky, boozy, vanillic, powdery. It gives you all the vibes that Jazz Club gives you. In fact, the bottle says the description of the fragrance is cognac and leathery, but it essentially has the exact same note breakdown as Jazz Club.
Okay. And what would you so obviously what cold weather fragrance mostly, but do
Yeah.
you what occasions you rocking this?
Yeah, this is definitely a cold weather fragrance. I would not touch this fragrance in the heat. Um, you brought up the cigar lounge. This is a fragrance that I generally wear this scent DNA in the evening. I'm gonna wear it on a date. I can wear it if I'm trying to impress, if I'm trying to impress, I have a girlfriend, but if I'm going out on a date, with my girlfriend, what have you, this is a fragrance. In fact, I wore Jazz Club taking her out to dinner for her birthday. So there's
Mm.
that. So this DNA works for those type of occasions, or literally if you're going to a cigar lounge, if you're going to, I wouldn't say like, kind of like bar and grill type vibe, but maybe a bar or a lounge where they're playing some live music. This is the type of fragrance where you want to wear it in those type of occasions for sure.
So it sounds like cold weather nightlife probably summarizes that pretty
Yeah, for
decently.
sure, for sure. Yep. And this is more of, I would say, definitely a mature man scent. This is
Okay.
probably not something that I would say you're under 30. This probably is not gonna be your vibe. It has that smoky tobacco vibe, kind
Okay.
of matures it a bit. You know what I'm
I was
saying?
I was gonna ask because a lot of that goes into the psychology, right? So it's like I was gonna ask like what note in particular did you feel kind of more masculinizes that fragrance? Because I was looking at the note breakdown, I was like, it's got to be either the pepper, the rum, or the tobacco. So you think it makes it more up in age due to the tobacco? It just kind of matures the fragrance out.
Yeah, it does. Now, the unique thing about this fragrance, like if you put your nose on this, it kind of has this like dusty, like powderiness to it. And
Mm.
you would think that there might be like tonka bean or something in here. I feel like it has to be because it is somewhat powdery. But sometimes tobacco can come off that way.
Oh yeah.
It probably is giving the fragrance that powderiness.
Absolutely, and I liken it to, for instance, Dior Homme Intense versus DHP,
Right.
like iris powder versus like dusty iris. So in the same way that tobacco can be like really smooth, tobacco can also be harsh, and so that could absolutely be the case for sure. By the way, just a side note, um, I really love fragrances that have alcohol in them when they're done right. Just
Hmm.
something about rum, cognac. There's even fragrances that just say alcohol on them. I'm not
Yeah.
a fan of just alcohol itself, but there's something about a dark liquor that matures a fragrance. I think of even fragrances like Angel Share, for instance, where they call it a unisex fragrance, but I think the only thing that makes it be allowed to even be considered a masculine fragrance is that cognac note that just gives you that bite, that edge. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so I know this isn't a unisex fragrance, but nonetheless, seeing the rum there really got me excited. Usual suspects for me. I like what I see with the vetiver oil. The pink pepper. That might also be something contributing. But pink pepper in most fragrances for me is generally pretty smooth. Is it that way for you as well?
Yeah, it's kind of like a pink pepper for me. In a lot of fragrances, I kind of get like a sweetened spiciness,
Mm,
if that makes sense. It's kind of like
totally.
a, I think about almost like a red bell pepper that's kind of,
Okay.
a bit sweeter than maybe the other peppers. So I get like a sweet spiciness, if that makes sense when I think about pink
Totally.
pepper.
Absolutely. Well, hey man, I like that pick. Real quick, just to summarize, where can people find that? What's it normally run?
Yeah. So I purchased mine off of fragrancebuy.ca.
Mm,
And I got it for around the $35 price point. So, and this is 100 mLs. Now, Jazz Club, the OG, is not super expensive these days. In fact, I was literally just talking about Jazz Club probably like an hour before we recorded this. And I was looking online, and I think Joma Shop and Max Aroma have 100 ml bottles of the OG for like $80. So,
okay.
it's one of those situations where, sometimes when you get a clone fragrance, it's substantially cheaper than the OG.
In
And this
many
is a case
cases.
where it's not that far off, right? The
Right.
difference between $80 and $35 is not that much. But I've had this one for a little bit. I know Jazz Club, used to be kind of upwards of 125, $150. So I think maybe where it's coming down in price a little bit, but $80 is a great price for the OG. But if you don't want to pay $80 and you want to pay $35, Music Fest is a great alternative.
That's what's up. Yeah, and also a lot of times it just comes down to how much you love the DNA, right? Because like
Yep.
if you need 100 ml, it's like okay, well I might want to just rock out and and get the official fragrance since it's close. Another thing is like when it comes to Mesa Margiela, sometimes that hits the Facebook groups a lot. You might
Yep.
run up on like a half a bottle or 75% left of a bottle. It's rare you see Jazz Club, but I've seen it definitely on there before. So it's
Yeah.
definitely a
Yeah, for
favorite.
sure.
But, how much do you love the fragrance will determine how much you want to come out of pocket and kind of have that in your collection. But, it
Yeah.
sounds like you got a good fragrance on your hands with the
Yeah,
clone.
and Jazz Club, I would personally say is kind of more of a, because of the scent DNA, it's kind of more of a situational type of wear. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just pulling out, Jazz Club, to wear to work. Now, some people might,
Right.
everybody kind of does things differently. But for me, it's kind of more like you said, cold weather, nights out. It's very, very situational. So with that in mind, it only gets worn, maybe a few times a year.
Gotcha. All right, man. Well, hey, let's run it up to round two, man.
All right.
Let's get out of the cigar lounge for a moment, shall we?
Let's do it. All right.
Oh, did we hit cigar lounge again?
We're back in the cigar lounge now.
Hey, listen, we already had our cigar, man. We're
Yeah, yeah.
chapped. Ooh, go to vetiver.
Oh,
That
oh
just
yes.
I'm
I already
smiling
got it.
from
I
ear
already
to
got it.
ear.
I
Okay,
already got it.
let's see it.
All right, let's go. All right. I am back.
What you got for us?
All right, man. Listen, I bought this fragrance probably early spring of this year, maybe kind of late winter, like March or something like that. This is one of the best fragrance pickups I've made this year, and it is a fantastic vetiver fragrance. Vetiver is in the name. It's Vetiver Sensual
Since you, bro.
by Mancera.
Oh my gosh. Listen to me, man. Real soon, I'm going to have a bottle of that. Real soon. I hear people talking it up so much. I sampled it a long time ago. Not a long time ago, but long enough to where I've been like craving it. And gosh, it's a usual suspect for I think everybody's top 5 best vetiver fragrances. So I definitely want you to get in your bag and describe why you love that fragrance. That's from the House of Mancera.
It's from Mancera, yep.
And
So,
yeah,
man, so when I initially smelled this, I was just like, it. So it's not gonna you're gonna smell it and you're gonna be like, okay, it's soapy clean, right?
okay,
But it's the quality of the fragrance
right.
that's just so good. You get like a ton of citrus on the top that's just very bright and very uplifting. Then you get this woody dry down, and that woody dry down, that vetiver is not super earthy. You get a little bit of earthiness, but it's kind of like a soapy clean vetiver. This is a go-to for me, like if I'm going in the office, if I'm going to work. It's the perfect for me kind of like daytime type of wear. I've worn it in the evening before, but it just doesn't hit the same. Like it's just kind of
Mm.
like that just clean, fresh scent. You're going to work, you're smelling fresh and clean, you're wearing a white t-shirt or something like that. This could be that type of fragrance as well, but it's just a really, really good fragrance. And it's affordable for considering that it's a niche fragrance. You get 120 ml. I think I got mine for around $80, and I think that's what it's running right now.
Yeah,
So I
Joma's
think,
shop has it for about 80.
yeah, I think that's a great deal considering, the dollars per ml, the quality of the fragrance. Mancera does fresh fragrances like really, really well, I
Yeah,
think. And
yeah.
so this is just one of those where the vetiver is not, screechy, earthy, gonna make you run away. It's soapy clean, it's nice and versatile.
Now, the first thing that comes to my mind when you say soapy clean is Tom Ford Grey Vetiver. And so, my
Mhm.
question to you is that fragrance tends to lean on this kind of soapy clean grapefruit vetiver combo.
Mhm.
How does it, for somebody who's smelled Grey Vetiver and is maybe on the fence between that and this, because that's another notorious top 5 vetiver fragrance that people say, Kevin Samuels says any season, any reason, but they liken it to an office fragrance. But because it's so clean and fresh and the quality of the ingredients, you can really wear it any season, any reason, any
Sure.
climate. So Vetiver Sensual sounds like a similar fragrance that can be versatile and just this kind of invigorating, hyper masculine, high end ingredients type of fragrance. So, if you could explain a little bit more, what would be the nuance or differences between those two fragrances if someone was considering a more top shelf vetiver clean fragrance?
So I personally have not smelled gray vetiver, believe it or not.
Okay. Okay.
So I don't know. I know I can't. I can't really do a comparison between the two. But from what I've heard, because I have a friend who has gray vetiver, there are some similarities.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about some other vetiver dominant fragrances, they kind of turn people off when they get kind of too much on that kind of dirty, kind of earthy
Earthiness.
side.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because even like, I could have went with I got Terra de Hermes. I could have went with Terra de
Mm-hmm.
Hermes. That is, now that is a bit more dirty, earthy vetiver, but I still like that fragrance a lot because you do get,
That orange
that bitter
stays
like
up front.
citrus,
Yeah.
yeah, in it as well. The citrus in here, I mean, you get to my nose, all the citruses listed there, I feel like I smell all of those at some point during the fragrance. Like I get
Okay.
some of the lime, some of the lemon, the orange, the bergamot. I feel like all of that um, comes to play at some point in the fragrance. Like the mid notes, I don't get a ton of mint, orchid, patchouli maybe, but for the most part, for me, I get that citrus blast and then the woody aspects of the fragrance.
Gotcha. And I mean, can you really miss with citruses on woods? I mean, I feel like that's just like maybe top three kind of like base DNAs of just about everything. I think about, Elysium, for instance, is citrus on vetiver and woods. A lot of amber fragrances go in that direction. Almost every fresh fragrance goes in that direction in some aspect, but I think quality of ingredients and just the range of citrus in this DNA, I feel is what probably sets it apart from the rest, is just being this very robust, not professional, but like hyper quality rendition of notes that we already love naturally.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. That is a good descriptor, a good analysis for sure.
Awesome. Well, hey guys, again, around $80 on Joma Shop when you're getting a price slice. I never see that on the Facebook groups. And to be honest, I've never really seen in the alternatives market anything that's really touching vetiver sensual or even gray vetiver. I know people have taken a stab at gray vetiver, and there are renditions out there, but none of which I've heard people ranting and raving of. Normally, everybody who loves fragrance and has the dough is going to at least cop a bottle of Vetiver Sensual or Tom Ford Grey Vetiver or Terre de Hermes at some point in their fragrance journey. So as the alternatives come in, I'll definitely share them with you. But I think $80 for 100 ml, 40 for half that is probably really is a smoking deal if you shop at Sephora or any of these walk-in shops where you're paying upwards of $150 down to like 70-ish bucks anyway. So great deal there. Let's go ahead and move on to round three, man. I'm so glad we hit the vetiver. To me, vetiver is like, when you're playing Monopoly, you always got to hit the stop go and collect your 200. It's like if I could hit vetiver on every wheel spin at least once per game show, I'm normally a happy man.
Got it. So that's one of your favorite notes then.
Bro, listen to me, man. It's just it's not the most spectacular note in and of itself, but it's like a cornerstone of like versatile masculinity, right? Because it pulls together fragrances in an earthy fashion, in a clean fashion, in a dark and mysterious fashion. There's so many different ways it can be extracted. It's normally always in the base or heart of a fragrance, and it adds sophistication and dimension to a fragrance. I think it's unfortunate that we haven't seen a lot of like vetiver is either like just 5% of a fragrance or it's like 70% of a fragrance. You know what I'm saying? So it would be nice to get more fragrances where like vetiver's sitting in that kind of 50-50 aspect of a fragrance. Right now in vetiver category, you might have 5 to 10 fragrances that everybody talks about and then we call it a day. But even in those, I just really appreciate, like, I see so much potential in it, and there's so many fragrances that I love for the fact that they have vetiver, that it's just kind of like a masculine staple for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah. What are we on? Round three?
It's round three. Yeah.
Round three. Let's spin that junk.
All right, let's go. All right, let's see what we get. Ooh.
Oh man. High school signature. Now listen, I like to give a disclaimer. You clearly are not in high school, right? If you were, we might need to cut the stream and we need to have a different conversation.
Yeah.
No, but so I always tell people this, man. Either you go back to your old self in high school and you pick a fragrance for younger Sillage Saint, or it could be like your nephew or something came to you and said, yo, man, I'm going to ask this girl out, or I need an everyday fragrance. What do you think would be a valuable fragrance that is a must have for a kid in high school currently?
Oh man. All right, this is a little tougher. This is a little tougher than the first two
All right,
because,
I'll
like
get.
you
All right, I'll
said,
give you
my
32 seconds.
my high school days are well behind me. But let me see what I got. All right.
All right. By the way, guys, as you watch this video, please let us know how you're rocking with the Wheel of Fragrance channel. If you have any recommendations for job occupations or different categories that can go on the wheel, please contribute, man, because I want to always be improving this game show, and I put a lot of effort into making sure it's as entertaining as possible for you guys. So this would be the point where you sound off in the comments and give me any feedback about the game show so that we can bring you guys more of this awesome content.
All right. Think I got something. All
All
right.
right.
So, all right. So when you think about, and I've done some kind of high school centric content on my page. I did a video where I talked about some fragrances that work for like prom, some fragrances that work for back to school. So when I think about those type of fragrances or fragrances for a high schooler, I'm thinking about kind of things that I have in my collection that are maybe what people would call more youthful or playful. I don't like to use, some people say juvenile, but
Mm.
um I mean, I have the fragrances, and I do like to wear some of the, the more youthful, light, playful fragrances here and there. So, a scent DNA that I think any high schooler could rock would be the Invictus DNA, right? I
Okay.
feel like that is that bubble gummy, sweet type of fragrance would work. So I have a fragrance. It is not Invictus, but it has aspects of Invictus, and I think it would be a great high school signature scent. And that fragrance is Mont Blanc Legend Spirit.
Oh man. That is a great fragrance choice. I'm not, hey, listen, I'm not hating on Mont Blanc Legend Spirit ever in my life. In fact,
Yeah.
Mont Blanc to me is like a double edged sword. Half of the fragrances from that line to me are just either complete ripoffs or too harsh. And then
Yeah.
the other half, they knock it out the park. You know, I look
Yeah.
in my
Yep.
collection and like I know one for me that's so simple but just so nice is Star Walker.
Yep.
But Mont Blanc Legend Spirit is absolutely a fragrance that when I smell it in stores, it's one of the. I mean, not even. It's probably it might even go in top 3 best fragrances in Mont Blanc. But yeah, let us know how. I mean, when did you get this fragrance in your journey?
Okay, so let's see. So first of all, I think most of the Mont Blanc fragrances almost always are kind of like a take on a more expensive
That's a
designer or
fact.
niche for the
That's a
most part.
fact.
Because you think about like Star Walker kind of smells like Mano Fresh by, Versace.
Mm-hmm.
Explorer kind of smells like Aventus.
Mm-hmm.
Mont Blanc Legend EDP, which I have, kind of smells like Abercrombie and Fitch Fierce. So they all
Right.
kind of seem like they always, and then I used to have individual, which I think is supposed to be like an original Santal take by
I've heard that. I think so.
yeah, by Creed, I think also. So yeah, they seem to kind of take on more expensive designer or niche. But anyway, I purchased this fragrance at a rack store actually. I bought this at a local Burlington. This is just a 30 ml bottle.
Oh, I
So
was
I
gonna say
bought
they getting 100 mLs at Burlington.
no, this is a 30 ml. I know I paid less than $30 for it. I think I paid about $25 for it. And I probably have had this I would probably say maybe a couple years now. I
Okay.
probably had this in the collection. But this is one, man, when I actually wore this I can tell you the last time I wore this, I took my kids to a water park. So we were outside. It was, high 80s at the water park. This is that type of fragrance for me. Youthful, playful, doing something fun,
Mm-hmm.
fun type of activity. But for a high schooler, this could very well be a signature scent for them.
Easy.
That bubblegum like sweetness, the citrus, the aquatics in the fragrance. This is a compliment getter too, because it's still the Mont Blanc Legends still kind of all have that fierce kind of DNA kind of playing in the background. This is more like Invictus Aqua though. Invictus Aqua. I'm sorry. Mont Blanc Legend EDP kind of has that fierce DNA in the background, but this is more kind of like an Invictus or an Invictus Aqua type of fragrance.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it also reminds me, just due to the grapefruit and water note, um another fragrance that comes to mind with that I think is a sleeper for good reason, I'll explain in a second, is Encre Noir Sport. Encre
Which
Noir.
I've never smelled, by the way.
Yeah, it's very simple. It's got this bitter, piney grapefruit top, a water note mid, and then a vetiver base. I mean, there really isn't a lot of other nuance to that fragrance, but a lot of people, it's likened to the more commercial representation of the Encre Noir trio between Encre Noir Black or Encre Noir OG and Encre Noir a la Extreme. People say Sport is the more commercial wearable version. I don't really agree with that. However, a lot of people don't like it as a fresh fragrance in the younger crowd because the grapefruit is rendered so earthy, piney. And that's the only kind of invigorating aspect of the watery fragrance. So it just kind of doesn't have much youthful appeal to it.
And then
But
that vetiver, right? It's vetiver in there too, so that
yeah,
probably
and it's a
plays
earthy
a part.
vetiver as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah.
So, but it definitely, I've smelled both that and Mont Blanc Legends Spirit, and I can say if you are somebody who wore Encre Noir Sport because it was $20 and you liked vetiver or you heard a lot of people talk about it, Mont Blanc Legends Spirit is exactly like that DNA, except the grapefruit is invigorating and bright.
Hmm.
It's sweeter, and instead of vetiver, you got this white wood, cashmere wood, which is not as earthy. It's got a masculineness to it, but it's not overly masculine. The citruses and water notes in lavender just kind of create this really fresh citrus top that kind of stays with the fragrance and is kind of the lead role. The woods are the backbone of this fragrance. So it's definitely a great, I completely agree that it's, now mind you, signature scent for a high schooler doesn't mean I think that is way different than adult signature. When you think of adult signature, you're thinking about a fragrance no one has, right? That's just super versatile. You're trying to not only have use case be super versatile, but you also want to have something that's a head turner because someone says, where the heck, what does that smell like? I need more of that," right?
Hmm.
With high school signature scent, we're basically just talking about a fragrance that a kid can get that bottle, put it on his shelf. He don't got to think about anything else. He's using it out the gym. He's using it out the shower. He's using it when he goes to bed. He's using it on date night. He's using it when his mom's driving him to the mall. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
bingo.
so it doesn't necessarily have to be a fragrance that no one smelled because let's be quite honest, probably 95% of any fragrance that somebody 18 or under has, every 18-year-old has that if they have a fragrance. Let's be real. There's probably like 5 or 10 fragrances I can name off the top of my head that every teenager is rocking anyway. But nonetheless, I completely agree with your assessment. I think Mont Blanc Legend Spirit is absolutely a signature everyday wear that it's just got so much commercial appeal. It's not trying to be anything other than, a complementary fragrance to many situations.
Yep, for sure.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, round 4, I'm going to speed it up a little bit because I
Right.
want you to make it at least to round 5,
Okay, let's
and
do it. Yeah,
let's get it popping.
I'm enjoying this, man.
Dude, hey, listen, you will be back. I'm sorry to tell you. Okay, we stayed.
Ooh.
Oh, it
Oh,
just
cigar
barely crept in.
lounge.
We're going to ignore
They
that.
love me in the cigar lounge, man.
They
I gotta.
listen,
Maybe that's
you
a
must have
sign.
been
I need
smoking
to get
cigars
more
lately.
cigar lounge fragrances. They love me in the cigar lounge.
Oh my gosh.
Go
You
to
know what I
better.
need to hit?
Ah,
Hide choice. That's what I should have been doing. As we go through these selections, I just learned something new. You can hit hide choice and it won't go back to it.
okay.
Ooh. Yacht
Oh,
Club.
I was hoping not to get this one. This is the one that I was like, okay.
They said, "Hey, Siaj, you know we love what you're doing on the show. We want to go invite you out to the yacht so you can sit with some scent bosses, and
Yeah.
we want to know what we're going to be wearing for the event."
Ooh, all right. Let's see. Let's see. Yacht Club.
You learn something new every day, guys. Today we learned that you can hit hide choice right here, this yellow button right below Yacht Club, and it's going to allow us to remove that option from the wheel as we continue spinning. So that's invaluable information that we will use moving forward. What you got for us?
All right, man. So I thought about a couple, but I decided to go with this fragrance for the Yacht Club. I'm a big fan of Brioni fragrances,
Mm-hmm.
and the fragrance that I would probably consider wearing to the Yacht Club would be Brioni Eau de Parfum Eclat.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
this
Were you talking
is
about that
this is
recently?
this is elegant. It has this class, it has this sophistication. It's perfect for, being on a boat. I'm assuming if I'm on a yacht, it's going to be warm.
Yeah,
So,
let's hope so.
um, it's
If
just,
it ain't warm if you're on a yacht, you better be scared because you ain't
yeah, yeah,
you're
yeah,
on the yacht for the wrong reason.
yeah, for sure. So this is, it's just this, yeah, it's a citric fragrance. It's musky, and then it has this rose type of accord playing in the background, and Broxton gives it some push. It's just really classy and elegant, and it kind of screams, maybe I got a little bit of money. Now I don't, but when I wear this, makes me feel like I do. This is a nice fragrance, man. And this is Brioni does a great job with all of their fragrances. I have Brioni Eau de Parfum Intense, which is incredible. But Eclat is like their summer offering. This is like their warm weather offering, because Eau de Parfum Intense is kind of like a oud, vanilla, saffron type of fragrance. So I usually wear that more in the cooler weather. And then they have a new fragrance that just came out, a leather centric fragrance. But this one, for the warm weather, it's classy, it's elegant, it's nice, man. This is a good one.
Okay, so this is definitely a watery fragrance. Now, outside of the category, because you did hit Yacht Club and we talked
Mhm.
about obviously the yacht,
Yeah,
but what other use cases could you see this fragrance being for, if any?
man. So I was in Chicago this summer, went to a rooftop brunch. I wore this fragrance.
Mm.
Rooftop party, brunch. You can wear this with a white tee. You could wear this with a suit to like a summer wedding. This has some versatile use, particularly in the warmer weather months. But yeah, anytime I'm, kind of getting, doing something kind of somewhat upscale in the summer, brunch, rooftop party here and there, lunch with friends, something like that. And I maybe, like I said, I might be wearing a button up, a nice shirt, maybe even, a nice, it doesn't necessarily have to be a collared shirt, but like a nice round collared shirt. I'd throw this on. Those are other occasions in which I would wear this fragrance.
Okay. And for those of y'all who are interested, it runs about 60, $70 for 100 ml on Joma. You might be able to snatch away a deal on that, seasonally. But yeah, it looks like an awesome fragrance.
Yeah.
It also looks unique for a fresh fragrance. Because I'm looking at this note profile and I'm
Yeah,
thinking
you
in
got
my
some
head,
olibanum in there, patchouli, rose. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah. It's some uniqueness to it. It's very like I said, it has a class and sophistication to it. But it's, I mean, most summer fragrances, your freshies, they're light wears. But this is a very, just light, kind of easy to wear fragrance. You get whiffs of this, people are definitely gonna know you smelling good, because this smells really, really good.
I'll tell you what, You sold me. I'm going to put my nose on it real soon.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, you have made it to round 5.
All
You've
right.
done quite well. You haven't been over time. In fact, most of the time you've been under time. But and you also, I got to thank you because you gave me an improvement to the show, which is that I didn't know I can hide wheel spin selections. So
Ah,
now,
look at
now that
that.
I got that moving forward,
All right.
you're just contributing to the show in many ways. So you ready for the final round?
Let's do it. Let's
All
do it.
right, let's get a good spin in.
Let's get a good one, man. Let's get a good one. Let's end with a bang.
Oh, that would have been crazy if you had restaurant brunch right after that one. Hype Beast Disappointment. Ooh.
Hype Beast Disappointment.
So what's a fragrance that it doesn't necessarily have to be on the same level of like an Aventus or something like that, but what's a fragrance that many people know about, clone
Yep.
or original, that when you bought it, you were like, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let me see. I think I might have something.
I like this selection for our guests because it really makes them get in their bag. Not everybody has had 100% success rate with picking fragrances. There's always at least one fragrance you had a lot of, anticipation for, and then when you got it, it was underwhelming.
All right.
All right, man.
So I got to give you a disclaimer because I don't dislike this fragrance. So I'm letting everybody know that because I know once I show the fragrance, people are going to be like, "You're out of your mind." So
All right, I'll put the scissors away.
So I don't dislike the fragrance. I feel like considering my age that it may be a little too youthful for me. It's a beast. And for that reason, it was somewhat disappointing for me. I do like it though, but we're talking about Afna 9 p.m.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Hey,
Afna 9 p.m.
and that is the clone of Ultramale, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct. Yeah, it's a clone
Okay.
of Ultra Male by Jean Paul Gaultier. That's right.
Okay, so first tell me what you like about the fragrance, and then tell me what you feel is underwhelming. Elaborate on that a little bit.
Okay, so I like the fact that it is an incredible performer. So
True.
this is a fragrance that you don't need to go crazy on the sprays. You got one too.
Hey! Look how full my bottle is.
Yeah. You don't need to go crazy. And I'll tell you this, I actually like 9 a.m. dive better than 9 p.m. Personally,
Okay.
for my utility, my personal usage, I like 9 a.m. dive better than 9 p.m. I wear that one by far more than I wear 9 p.m. So what I do like about it is that it's a great performer, right? The sillage is
10 plus
crazy.
hours.
It lasts forever. It is definitely one of those fragrances in my collection that is what everybody wants, and that's beast mode performance. So that is what you get that is a positive. The apple note, the vanilla, all of that is cool. My dislikes for the fragrance, it's really synthetic, so it's not the most natural smelling thing in the world. It's a bit headache inducing, but I could have also oversprayed when I first wore this fragrance. But I do feel like just for me personally, considering my age, it's a bit too youthful, playful for me. I will throw it on if I'm going to like a sports bar to watch a game, if I'm going to, the rare occasions I go to a club, if I go to a club and I want to grab attention, this is the type of fragrance that you want. But considering my age, I don't have a lot of utility for this. So that's why I say it's a disappointment. I would recommend it to anybody 25 and under for
You
sure.
literally stole the words out of my mouth, but I wanted to let you tell it.
Yeah, anybody 25 and under, you single and ready to mingle, you need this fragrance. You
That's
need it.
right.
You need it.
Now, let me give you some pushback. So, I want to get into a little psychology of this real quick. So, um, okay, 9 p.m. Not the biggest fan of, right? So, do you like any Jean Paul Gaultier fragrances at all?
I do.
Okay.
I
Well, well,
do.
well.
So here,
Show him some love.
so I like Le Male Les Parfums a lot.
Okay.
I like that one a lot. That's, vanillic, peppery, powdery. You get the spice, the vanilla, the powderiness. I like that. I also have a Le Male Elixir. Now that one is that's another one where you don't have to go crazy on the sprays. That's kind of a beast performer too. Um, and initially when I wore that, have you ever worn a fragrance? And you guys out there watching may be able to attest to this too. But have you ever worn a fragrance that when you wore it, it just felt like sticky? Has that ever happened to
Mm.
you, or it feels like it feels sticky, or it feels like it's just heavy, like
Yeah.
it's a heavy
It doesn't.
fragrance?
It doesn't feel like it's a part of you. It just feels like it's on you.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. That's exactly what I was. So Lamar Elixir gives me a little bit of that, but that mug gets compliment. So that's back in the rotation this winter. I gotta throw that one on.
Okay.
But I do like it, and I think my favorite JPG fragrance is Lamar Les Parfum.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow. Everybody always has different answers to this. I think what you said about age is pretty much sums up this fragrance because you got to think about the psychology of the fact that, when you're young, fragrance is everything you smell in fragrance when you're young is new.
mhm,
So things like sophistication and maturity, anything you put your nose to that isn't Axe body spray is going to smell, have elements of mature, maybe even sophisticated, bright, invigorating. All those notes are new to you. Now, younger guys generally gravitate towards the sweeter stuff.
yeah,
And for that reason, this is a great formulation. It's not synthetically harsh,
right,
it's just of a type of DNA where, when you think about a girl's body mist, right? Or a girl's body spray she might get at Bath and Body Works and all the different vanilla and, amber and cinnamon and tropical and citrus, right?
yeah,
This for a man is maybe a one level above that. Like it doesn't smell like a cheap body spray that you might get at Old Navy or like a Banana Republic or something like that. It is a level up. It's a cologne for sure,
yeah,
but it does have like reminiscence of note profiles that we are very familiar with. And again, this all comes down to use case. When you're a young guy in high school, this is talking back to earlier when we had that high school pick.
yeah.
This would
Because
have been
this
a
could
great
have this could
choice.
have been on there. This could have
This
gone on there.
Many young men watching the Wheel of Fragrance had this literally sitting right next to their desk because they use it so much. But when you're in high school, everything's about impressing, right? You want to look cool and you want to look cool to the women. Right? That's all. You a young kid in school, you ain't thinking about math, you ain't thinking about science. You're thinking about, oh man, such and such looks good over there at desk 3. Dang, I can't focus. When you're in the gym or you're on a sports team, man, I want to impress these girls. When you're at the lunch table, oh dang, she looks cute. You are a boy toy. You know what I'm saying? And so this fragrance screams date night. It screams, hey, look at me. I'm something. I'm to
Yep.
be desired. It at a much lower age range, but put it this way. I always hate to say it's a young man's fragrance, right? Because I know there's going to come a time where an older male is going to come to me with problems, but there really is a generalizing that is very cliche for a reason. I've yet to have a guy approach me at all, online or in person, that says, "Yo, you really gotta chill, man," because 9 p.m. I wear that a lot in X, Y, and Z situation. it is true that the older you get, the more you're kind of looking for. It's funny. You're looking for the finer things in life, but the simple things in life you just want done really well, right? So this is like a fragrance that's trying to get star power, but for an older male, it's using notes to get there that are so common that a guy this doesn't work as a stopping power fragrance for an older man, because it's like you just smell like something a lot of guys would smell like, and it has no serious edge to it. There's no balance of sweet and like hyper masculine or like zesty, or there's no contrast to this fragrance. It is just sweet bomb.
Yeah, sweet
And
vanillic, little bit of powderiness
right.
from the tonka bean, but yeah, I mean it's
It's
and
so
I
linear.
think you get some of the lavender too. I think you get a little bit of that also. But yeah,
It's
I
soaked in vanilla,
definitely yeah, for sure. And
you know.
before the JPG heads get me, I gotta say this. LeBeau, specifically Paradise Garden, is really, really good. I put my nose on it. I have LeBeau EDT. That's good, but I wish I would have waited for Paradise Garden because I like that one better. It's LeBeau DNA, just a bit more green. So that's probably the second best one to me. So Le Male Le Parfum and then LeBeau Paradise Garden. Those are like my top two JPGs.
You know, I personally make sure I wear off non 9 p.m. at least once a month, and I don't necessarily like. I try to rock it very casually,
Yeah,
just to like put myself in the headspace of putting some respect on the name. Not every fragrance is for every guy. You know, there's age range, there's
yep,
context. Some guys are always in and out of work and then they go home and go to bed. Some guys are out at bars a lot. Some kids go to school all day, every day. Some people are more nightlife. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just situational context to everything. But I always try to wear this at least once a month, because so many people are fans of it. And I
yeah,
try to just sit in the shoes of this DNA more, even though for me, if I'm dealing with sweetness, I always like contrast. If you're going to give me sweet, put something else against it that's not sweet and see how those play off one another. And that's my preference, but that's a lot of guys' preference.
yeah.
So, it's just interesting. So off non 9 p.m. definitely isn't a bad fragrance, but I think for our age category, I completely agree with your sentiment that, it isn't spectacular, but it is respectable, I think, at the very least.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's not a bad fragrance. Like I said, for me, it's more so utility. Like when am I gonna
100%.
wear it? Yeah, if I'm going to, like you said, if I'm going to a place where I know it's a bar, a club, and there's gonna be a whole lot of fragrances in the air,
Mm,
I might throw this on.
yeah. It's the
But I got other
exterminator
things I
fragrance.
could
It's
throw
gonna it's
on
gonna
that would.
knock a lot of stuff out of the way.
Yeah, for sure. But I got other things that I could throw on that kind of maybe have a little more mature profile that can accomplish those same things. So,
Absolutely. Yo, hey, listen, you survived the gauntlet, man. How do you
yeah,
feel?
man. Yeah.
How do you how
And
do you how do you feel? You survived.
look, man, I had a ball, man. This was fun. I really the first couple of categories, I was like, oh, these are a breeze. I got these, I got those quick. Then we got to rounds 3, 4, and 5, and I had to think a little bit. So, um, great show. Great idea. Really something different in FragCom, getting you to kind of think on your feet, kind of show, those out there what you have in your collection that fits certain scenarios. It's a great idea, man. I really, really enjoy doing it, man. Keep up the good work, bro. This is a great show.
Awesome. Well, hey, man, we always appreciate having guests on the show, but we super appreciate having you on the show and appreciated kind of just your perspective on fragrance, your journey through fragrance. I feel like we got a good sense of, a piece of who you are in terms of how you talk about fragrance and stuff that you're into. Hey, listen, guys, again, this is the game show, The Wheel of Fragrance. If you want to check us out, you can find me on YouTube. I am the Scent Bubble, and I went ahead and put Meech's information up there as well. You can find him at Siage Saint. And yeah, man, definitely give us some feedback in the comments below. Do you have the fragrances that we've talked about? If you have any questions about the fragrances we were talking about, put them in the comment section below. We want to contribute to the conversation of fragrance, and hopefully you guys can be the continuation of that. But yeah, bro, hey, listen, next time we have you back, I want you to give the Job Edition fragrance wheel a shot. I
Let's
think,
do it.
bro, it's so interesting. I think you'll really be into it. Any last words you got for the people before we sign off?
No, man, I listen. I appreciate you having me on. As the Scent Bubble stated, I'm at Siage Saint on YouTube. I'm at Siage_Saint on TikTok and Instagram. Just check me out. I do a lot of the content that everybody does. Lists, reviews, first impressions, all those type of things. And again, I talk about it all. I got clone, I got niche, I got a designer. Nothing's off limits on my channel. So I'm one that believes in smelling good and doing it at a reasonable cost. So a lot of times you'll see content where I'm talking about fragrances and coupling that with affordability. So you don't have to break the bank to smell good. Check out my channel to learn more.
Awesome, man. Well, with that being said, I am the Scent Bubble. This is the Siage Saint, and y'all have a great week. Peace.
Peace.